us this opportunity to be here. I represent civil society here. I'm from Internet Society Nepal chapter. And thank you, Anandji, because it's a matter of happiness as well as sad that regulator is raising the issues that should be raised by the civil society. Actually, these are the same questions we want to ask and put up here, why these issues are not being considered by the government. Before discussing about the cyber resilience and cyber security, we have to ask whether it is a priority for the government. The first question, if there are government officials here and the whole conference participant and the outcome document from the government also should put priority on cyber security, and we have to accelerate the initiatives started from 2016, 17, 18, be it draft cyber national security policy, cybercrime bill, IT Act, and I'd like to stress here the kind of multi-stakeholderism in this process. How every stakeholder fits into it. Taking a step back, the whole story started from the WCS 1998, and in the outcome document of the WCS Plus 10 issued in 2015, it has been clearly said that there might be the role of the government in the cyber security if we look at from the perspective of national security. But at the same time, there are enough role and responsibility for every stakeholder, including the civil society, to play in the cyber security mechanism, overall environment. So we have to be there in the discussion. The position of the civil society has to be considered. At the same time, it is necessary that all the stakeholders, government, regulator, business sector, civil society should be there. And I'm very happy to that Mr. Anand raised this issue. There is a discussion of, there is a draft policy, draft act ongoing, but no discussion so far has been done in the draft IT Act. That also covers some component of the cyber security bill. So we'd like to draw the attention of the government and other stakeholders to have the open discussion on it and make it an issue of public policy discourse. Make the cyber security a public discourse issue.
Okay, that's okay. We're talking about the resilience first of all. How to identify the threats and vulnerability that should ensure our basic need, a kind of basic need. Resilience has become a basic need for us, those who are working in a network security kind of things. So how do we identify basically from a ground parameters about the resilience? One example is somebody falls down. It's something is that to get recovery from the falling down to getting up is a kind of first basic thing of the recovery of you would say as a resilience. So Mona ji, I would like to ask you. So how to identify the basic ingredients, I would say, for the resilience kind of thing, and the alliance will come later on as far as this resiliency together is concerned.
Okay, thank you for the question. Actually, whatever prevention we do, as you say, security is just a parameter of, it's not if, when it occurs, and when if it occurs, what are the things we need to do. And resilience is focus on those parameters. So there are lots of things like quantification. When we say the quantification and of this vulnerabilities happening in worldwide and also in Nepal, it's really important for us to know what is happening worldwide and what is happening in Nepal. Let's say, for example, we need to identify what is the risk to our organization on cyber security threat happening anywhere. It could be banking, schooling, hospital. So that risk factor is very important to be identified. And for identification of those risk factors, one of the very important factors is what are the threats that is coming in the market, and if that attacks occur in organization, then what level of harm it can do to our organization. For that, some of the example we can learn is like, let's say in 2016, we all know that how Bangladesh Bank lost $81 million from a malware attack. And corresponding to that, in 2017, we had the same attack on our SIP system, losing $4.4 million in Nepal. So these kinds of trends are not normal. In 2016, there were 200 websites in Nepal being compromised, and 2017, 57 government websites being compromised. So lots of attacks are coming up, so we have to study what are these vulnerabilities, trends coming in international and national market, and based on that, what are the parameters of risks all the vulnerabilities have in our infrastructure, and if that occurs, then what is the risk that we lose our money or we lose our reputation?
Yeah, at the same time, I would like to add out a point here. Resilience, by the way, as far as the cyber security is concerned, it's a process. I would say it's a process. How it's a process? It's just like a risk management. First of all, you need to identify the risk, what are the threats and vulnerabilities we have at the moment. The second is to measure. Measuring, I think there must be two parameters in the measuring. First of all, intensity, and second one is level of occurrence. Intensity, how big is it? It's I would give an example of the earthquake. It's a big drum, like its intensity. Big one or small one, or middle one, and another is the level of occurrence. That means how the risk or how the threat is evolving. I mean, once a day, or every 2 hours, on what interval it is coming on. So measurement, by the way, it's having two parameters to judge there. Intensity and based on the level of occurrence. In terms of, there may not be similarity, but there is a big similarity on the risk management as well as the resilience on the cyber security. How do you think, Monazi, do you think it's the same kind of, and it's a parallel that we can imply the solution, better solution for the resilience, the same as the risk management?
Risk management is a bigger topic, and cyber resilience is a sub-topic of that.
Cyber is a specific one.
Yeah,
and
this is a
said,
specific
okay,
one. And under that, actually, risk management is not just on IT. It can occur in lots of places in organizations. So cyber being the one parameter, but risk management also says that their risks could be not only in IT, but other infrastructure, other awareness activities, lots of other things than on IT. So in that sense, there is some differences between risk management and cyber resilience. So in that case, I think the management is something we need to look upon. We need to look upon how risky our organization is to all the parameters. If something happens, then cyber being the one thing, but we also need to, and in that case, it's not just the people in IT, we have to have all the people on there.
Okay, would like to come again with the Narayan Kurela, sir. To fight something, to any vulnerability and threats, we need to have a inner strength enough. Having said to that we need to have a robustness of our system. So how do we ensure ourselves to have a robustness of our system, our inner strength, to be able to resilient, to tackle up the problems that's coming in? Specifically, I'm talking about the threats coming up, the different cyber attacks.
Okay, यो पहिला चाहिँ मेबी अवेरनेस नै इम्पोर्टेन्ट हुन्छ होला. अवेरनेस पनि सबै लेभलमा जरुरी हुन्छ, नट ओन्ली पर्टिकुलर टु आइटी डिपार्टमेन्ट अर आइटी पिपल. यो टप म्यानेजमेन्टदेखि लिएर अर्गनाइजेसनको इभन लो लेभल स्टाफहरू गार्डहरूसम्म पनि हामीले अवेर गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ. कस्तो खाले डेटाहरू सेयर गर्ने, कस्तो खाले डेटाहरू सेयर नगर्ने भन्ने कुराहरू, अथवा चाहिँ इभन टेक्नोलोजिकल युजेसमा पनि के युज गर्ने के युज नगर्ने भन्ने कुराहरूबाट नै हाम्रो सुरु हुनसक्छ. र मेजरली चाहिँ यसले टप म्यानेजमेन्टमा अलिकति बढी नै अवेरनेस चाहिन्छ जस्तो चाहिँ मलाई लाग्छ. सो द्याट कुनै पनि रिस्क फ्याक्टर आयो, कुनै पनि थ्रेड आयो, त्यो थ्रेडलाई मिटिगेट गर्नको लागि हामीले अहिले अडिट र इभ्यालुएसन एकदम धेरै गइरहेको छ. तर प्रोब्लम कहाँनिर छ? फिक्सेसनमा छ.
Okay, sir. Awareness is there, but in a regional lagi, I think we do have some prerequisites in terms of the readiness of the structure of, say, kind of things. Awareness wala पनि यस्तो चीजहरु बनाउनको लागि system requirements, investment.
जस्तै अब मोनिटरिङको पार्टहरू नै हेर्नु जस्तै थ्रेडहरू आयो भने हामीले प्रोपरली मोनिटर गर्ने हामीसँग सिस्टम हेर्ने प्लेसमा छैन कि भनेपछि त्यहाँनिर हामीले बजेटहरू चाहिँ राम्रोसँग सेग्रिगेट गरेर राख्न सक्नुपर्ने हुन्छ पछि त्यसलाई चाहिँ इम्प्लिमेन्ट गर्न सक्नुपर्ने हुन्छ त्यो एउटा पार्टमा चाहिँ हामी ल्याएको छौँ र अर्को चाहिँ मेबी एउटा अर्गनाइजेसनल रेगुलेसन पनि हो र अर्को चाहिँ रेगुलेटरी बडिजहरू भनौँ न रेगुलेटरी बडीहरूले पनि धेरै कुराहरू इन्फोर्स गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ जस्तै यही अडिटको लागि राष्ट्र ब्याङ्कले नै जुन एउटा इनिसिएटिभ दिनुभएको छ क्लास ब्याङ्कले कम्पल्सन गर्ने र त्यो गरेको छ कि छैन भनेर जुन तरिकाले एउटा रिपोर्टहरू भेरिफिकेसनको कामहरू गर्नुभएको छ आई थिङ्क सबै रेगुलेटर्सहरूले चाहिँ आफ्नो अन्डरको अर्गनाइजेसनहरूलाई चाहिँ यो कुराहरू इन्फोर्स गरायो भने मेबी वी विल ह्याभ स्टेप अहेड।
थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच आनन्द सर जस्तो कि awareness दिनुपर्छ भन्ने उहाँले जोड गर्नुभयो हामी वी हेभ already drafted policies, we have already awareness framework also there. But that if that is not put in place in required time or in the dimension, what would have the implication of that as far as the resiliency is concerned, as far as the preparedness of the emergency recovery or incident response is concerned?
एउटा कुरा के बुझ्नुपर्छ भने नट अल आर इक्वली भल्नरेबल तपाईँ को चाहिँ बढी भल्नरेबल छ इन इन्डिभिजुअल लेभल अर इन्स्टिट्युसनल लेभल भन्ने कुरा विच सेक्टर इज मोर भल्नरेबल द्याट हेज टु आइडेन्टिफाई। अब अहिले सल्युसन्स एक्जिस्ट आज बिहानदेखि सायद वी आर टकिङ अबाउट सल्युसन्स सो सल्युसन छ भन्दैमा सबै त्यही सल्युसन हाल्नुपर्छ कि पर्दैन वाट लेभल अफ भल्नरेबिलिटी वी एक्जिस्ट जस्तो आनन्दराज खनाल एज एन इन्डिभिजुअल उसको इमेल उसको फेसबुक एकाउन्ट उसको ट्विटर एकाउन्ट कति भल्नरेबल छ र उसको पिएमको एकाउन्ट कति भल्नरेबल छ वी डोन्ट एक्जिस्ट इन द सेम लेभल अफ भल्नरेबिलिटी इन्स्टिट्युसन्सहरू पनि त्यस्तै हो।